Okay, I'm going to show you how I like to put an embroidery pattern on fabric using my iPad as a light box. If you are unfamiliar with a light box, it's just a big box that has light in it, so it's great for tracing patterns because you can see what you're doing. Let's see. You can see what you're doing when you're tracing. So the light comes from here, and then you put your paper and your fabric layered on top, and then you can trace it easily. I usually just use a window, but it is early in the morning and it's dark outside and I want to trace a pattern. So choose your fabric and choose a hoop. It's especially easy if you're doing a small hoop, or at least a hoop that's smaller than your iPad. And then just put some fabric in it and make sure it's super tight. That will make it easier to trace. And then when you have it tight, just trim off. I like to leave a couple inches on the outside of my fabric. Okay. Then a few helpful things when you actually get onto your iPad. Let's see. Okay, so I already have my pattern in my photos, and however you want to bring them up, that's fine, but go to your settings and we're going to go to General and then go to Accessibility. And there's something called Guided Access, so we're going to make sure it's on, and I'll show you what that will do for you. The other thing you'll want to do is go to the, display and brightness. Usually auto lock is set to 2 minutes. You're going to change it to never. So that way, while you're tracing, it's never going to turn off on you. So now I'm going to go into my pattern, and let me just check here if that's about the size I want. When I do my patterns, I purposely make a circle on the outside for about how large of a hoop I'm going to use. This one's a little smaller, so I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger until it's about the same size. Then Guided Access is great because it can lock the screen so that if you touch it, it won't move. So you hit on the home screen 3 times, and then it says Guided Access started. I've done this a few times, so mine's already set up. You'll have to use your passcode to get to this. So this is where you can kind of control these options. It says end, resume, and then here's options in the bottom left corner. If you click options, make sure that touch is turned off. So I might even turn off, I'm just going to turn off everything. So that way, while I'm in this guided access state, nothing I do to the iPad, besides touching the home button 3 times, will do anything. This is also great if you have kids. So then I'm going to click resume, and see, no matter what I do, it's not going to touch. And we've already changed the settings on the auto lock, so it shouldn't turn off on me. So let's see, I'm going to move this down a little lower. Okay, now I'm in a pretty good position to trace. So, the other thing I'm doing is I have my embroidery hoop. Usually when you're actually stitching, you're looking at it like this and stitching. When we're tracing, I'm going to reverse it. because that way it keeps it tight and it keeps my fabric as close to the screen as it can be. And then I just start tracing. So I am using a water-soluble pen that is available at most craft stores. I prefer this one that is fine point, especially if I'm doing small little hoops. Some of them come in a thicker weight that's more like a marker, but I love this one. Some people also like to just use a pencil and a pen, but when I work, I find myself sometimes getting a little bit different from the pattern, even if I've made it myself. I just like the control to be able to change it up as I'm going. Now, you may move a little bit, so you just got to be kind of careful and then try to line it up as you go. And when I'm tracing, you know, this pattern has a lot of like little polka dots, but I'm not going to take the time to really mark every single polka dot. More, I'll do the stems and then reference the pattern while I'm actually stitching so that I know that there's those polka dots. But, you know, then you can kind of be a little more loose about it. Yeah, so that is how you would transfer a pattern to fabric using the Lightbox method with your iPad. When you're all finished tracing, your pattern will be like this, and I'm a little off-centered in my hoop, which is okay because I've left so much fabric on the outside. So I'm just going to undo my hoop, and then I can see how it's not really centered, so I will just come back and redo the hoop so it's from the front. Let's see. Still not really centered, which is okay. I don't worry about it too much when I'm stitching, but it is nice when you actually finish the hoop, and if you're going to frame it in a hoop to get it just right. But for my stitching process, this will work just great. And that was super fast, and I was able to do it in the dark of the night.